Hi, Howard.
Hi, Tammy. Thank you for getting me the right link. It
Yeah,
was,
I've had so many Zoom lady meetings lately. I went, oh, here it is, and I just posted it in there. And then this morning I was like, wait, what did you do? You put in June. So, yeah, I just figured that out while you were, well, and then I saw your text. So
yeah,
hopefully, the other people will get it as well.
good.
Give me just 1 second.
Have you heard anything from Rotary as far as doing a presentation for our group here in Fair Oaks?
No, I have not. From
Okay.
your rotor, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, no, I have not.
Okay. I'll I'll remind her.
Buongiorno a tutti. Hello.
Hello.
Buongiorno.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
I was
Buongiorno.
looking for the correct way to say that. I should. Give us a couple seconds. I'm doing a little technical moment here. Andrea. We'll see who signs on and see if there's any other problems, and they will let me know, I suppose. We have apparently about 20 people signed on, so registering, and here we go. Well, I just admitted someone, and where did they go? In the silence beforehand. Hello, Niru. Oh, you're muted.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I don't know where you guys are located. Hello, everybody. How are you, Tammy?
I'm good. I always get stressed out at these things and wake up at like, 4:15 in the morning and go, just get out of bed. I don't know why I get so stressed. I feel like sometimes the technology just, not the technology, but like this morning I sent the wrong link for the wrong month to some people and now I'm like, ah. So we'll just see what happens. And I just admitted somebody and they disappeared. I admitted you and you appeared. Why did they disappear? So we'll see what happens.
Technology is not perfect, is it?
No, that also is the user of the technology, and I hate being in charge of running the background stuff, but there's Barbara. Good morning, Barbara. Still in mute there.
everyone's trying to be polite by not, having background noise.
Yeah, I was at a meeting the other day and it's like, please figure out the person who's, clanking the dishes in the background, and you just go, we all did that in the beginning, right? When we started doing this stuff, but most people should be up to speed on that, but some people aren't.
Sometimes it's an accident, though.
Yes, it is. It is. So Barb, welcome, and I'll introduce people here in just a minute. We have like 20 people signed up, and I don't know if I just bounced out somebody, but when I admitted you came. I don't know what happened to the rest. So we'll just give folks a few more times, but actually, the people on this call, I don't know where Luigi is. I'm assuming he's in Italy, and but there she is, Natalia. Okay.
Yes,
Natalia,
yes, Tammy. I'm from Italy, from District 2031.
are you in the same group with Alderico?
Actually, from this Rotarian year, I am responsible for the environmental committee of our district, and I'm in touch with Odorico for common initiatives in the district.
And where in Italy are you from?
Piemonte, you know Piemonte, Turin, Torino, No?
Torino,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Okay. I haven't been there. Been to-
You must come in Italy.
I'll add that to my list.
Okay.
We went a couple of years ago because my son played water polo professionally in Sicily.
In
And so we
Sicily.
did a little trip and then ended up in Sicily to watch him play some games. But so we had a great time there. Well, it's 6 minutes after, and a lot of people on this call are people that I am very, very thrilled to have here because we're building our little team. And it's great. So I want to introduce folks. Maybe I'll let everyone just do that themselves, and then we'll intro people as they come in. So Connie, you've been sitting there being silent for quite some time. Why don't you start with where you live and what your hope is with Plastic Solutions? Because you and I
Okay.
talked with all of you on this call so far. So why don't you tell everybody else?
I'll make it quick. I'm Connie Ballou. I live on Bainbridge Island, Washington, and I'm looking at Seattle, so I'm very close to Seattle. And I went to the International Rotary Conference because I am really interested in preventing the formation of plastic rather than recycling it. I don't truly believe in recycling. I think we need to stop it in the bud. And one little comment, I met a guy from Haiti and I start talking to him about what I wanted. And he said, you could be killed for this. And I said, what? And he said, people are making a lot of money off of plastic. You will be in a lot of, and so I am determined, like if I get killed for this cause, that would be a good way to die. Yeah.
Tell them, can you talk to Connie about what you're going to take on as a part of this, of plastics?
Right. It's new, but I'm in District 9600, which is the Bainbridge Island District, and I am meeting with my environmental and sustainability group that tomorrow on Monday, and I am taking on trying to do some educational things. My vision with Tammy was to make packets that I could give to elementary ed teachers so that they could teach children good plastics, bad plastics, how you can buy things at the grocery store without using plastic. It's a job, but just education at a very young age is what my current focus is, but I'm open to suggestion.
And that's great. And once somebody opens their mouth about an interest, then I tend to just keep funneling stuff. So she's got a lot of different packets of information about young education from around the world. Because from the very first Plastic Cafe that we had, the resounding theme from everyone, and we had people there from, I don't know, 9, 10 different countries, was we want information that we can give to teachers. And so if we can pull together, I'm all into not reinventing the wheel, but sometimes you got to pull it all together and decide, okay, well, this is for early childhood education. This is for youth groups. This is for more high school kids. And do that and then translate them into different languages. So yes, you actually have a very tall order, but it would be great to get that done. And if anybody else has anything to add to that, I would, Connie, if you could put your information in the chat, because like I said, why reinvent the wheel? There's handbooks around, and maybe they're done, but maybe all we need to do is somebody to steward them through into different languages. And then we start getting them around to Rotary clubs or any clubs, period. Let's go on to Howard. I should say Dr. Howard, Dr. Homer. I should introduce you appropriately.
It's fine. Howard is fine. I'm a retired internal medicine specialist. Also did hospice, and I'm interested in looking at the research that's being done on the biologic effects of plastic additives in our environment and society. I'm also a scuba diver. So the impact on the ocean has been important to me. I'm here in Rotary District 5180, and I'm trying to raise awareness to our club, but also trying to introduce programs for the local schools to raise environmental awareness amongst school-age children.
Cool.
So a few things.
He has been taking copious notes at every meeting that he has attended and sends them to me, and it's a pretty amazing. There's AI, and then I compare it to his, and his are better. So it's yeah.
And I wrote some articles, but you'll have them looked at and decide what you want to use.
Well, I think we're going to be using them all, and they'll be going out in the newsletters because we wanted to rev up the newsletter again as well. So that's what we're trying to work on. So Luigi, what are you doing? You talked briefly about what you're doing. Whoa, we just went dark in Italy. What is your hope out of coming here? Just to listen or to tell us about a project? Or
at the moment, mainly listen ideas, practices that can be transferred in our environment, in our district. What I think is, in my opinion, is interesting is the possibility of the Rotarian clubs to impact on their environment in terms of practices to reduce the plastics. I make an example. If we convince our suppliers, like restaurants, like transportation services, and other actors to reduce the plastics, to match our goals, I think we can do some very interesting actions in the environment, spreading our vision. Okay, so in my opinion, the Rotary clubs can be the seeds of best practices in their environment.
bravo to that. I think we'd all like to see that and have all the Rotary clubs move away from single-use plastics and then force multiply that out into the world at large. Great, thank you. Niru.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Niru. I'm from the Rotary Club of Redmond, Washington, 5030 district. And I'm also part of the Rotary Bangalore club back in India, district 3192. So I'm subscribed member of both the clubs because I moved to US just 2 years ago from India. So I've been involved with the No Plastic campaign back in India through a couple of initiatives. One was sustainable menstruation, where we are advocating the use of menstrual cups and the cloth pads and not use the disposable sanitary pads. And second thing is in the community neighborhoods, we are trying to set up the stainless steel reusable cutlery bank so that all the parties, get-togethers in the neighborhood, in the Rotary clubs, are plastic free. They don't use disposables. These are just a couple of them. And right now I'm collaborating with Temi and two very nice gentlemen from Bangladesh, Ahmed and Kazi, to work on the waste textile problem solution.
That's what you're doing in a nutshell.
Yes, in a nutshell, yes.
Now, the issue in Bangladesh has grown very dear to me because of the textile issue, and I hope we can get something going there for soon, because the textile waste, as I was when Neeru and I first started talking, I was telling her what I had learned from my person there, Ahmed, that girls start at age 14, 15 in these textile industries, and then somewhere around the age 35, they're forced out for cheaper, younger labor. And here's a very large skilled labor force that can be tapped into to do something with this textile waste. And I hate calling it textile waste. It's not waste until they throw it into the canals. So how do we stop that process and maybe get this material to skilled labor forces and make cushions and different things out of this, and everybody can win? And that's my hope of where this project will go. And Neera's like, I want to do it. I want to do it. And I said, okay, but I want to be involved because I've been following this for so long. So I'm very excited to see how it all unfolds.
So can I ask a quick question, how the textiles and plastic go together, or is it the pollution in the rivers that you're talking of?
Yeah, I think mostly that, Connie.
Okay.
It's basically
Okay,
most of
got it.
pollution caused in the waterways, water bodies. And
Gotcha.
we're talking about the last mile textile waste, because the textile waste from, well, I shouldn't say waste again, as Temi mentioned, is basically textile leftovers from the mills. They are consumed by the middleman for many various things. We're talking about the last bits and pieces which are not being able to use for any recycled, upcycled for any meaningful purpose, and that go to the canals and they get dumped into landfills. So we're talking about
Gotcha.
that kind of waste.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I think the word just to use it would be scraps, right? Isn't that what we came up? They're literally scraps. And I saw a video where they're just scraps of little pieces of materials like almost this big, but the pile was as high as my desk here. So those are the kind of things that there's no more use for, and we can grab those scraps and do something constructive with them. But you also had the possibility of taking them being, if they are cotton, could be used to make sanitary items for women. And that's another part of the project. Is that correct?
That's true. So we're talking, we're trying to reach out to the LA pads in Bangladesh, the NGO initiative to turn the cotton rags into sanitary pads for the women. These are multiple options, but we are just hopeful that something will work out.
The other thing too is there's significant sources of microplastics, the effluent and the degradation of these partially synthetic fabrics really contribute a lot to the microplastic pollution.
Absolutely agree, Robert. So Temi's vision is first to segregate the textile scraps into organic material and the non-organic material. Organic material is something which can be consumed very easily, and the synthetic materials we have to think about. First, segregation itself is going to be a big challenge. It has to be handpicked by women and everything. So it's a long process. Let's see where we are, and we'll keep the group updated.
Yeah, thank you. Barb McChesney.
Good morning, everybody. So Tammy and I have been talking quite a bit. I'm very involved with End Plastic Soup, that's a Rotary initiative and presented at the International Convention this year and last year. And I'm also co-author with my sisters of a blog called McSisters Tackle Plastic. And just, we've been working really hard to try to raise awareness and help people understand different choices that they can make. And within my Rotary district, which is, I'm in California in District 5130, trying to really create awareness with the district to change our habits, and have made a lot of progress with getting our district, getting all the clubs to get on board with not using single-use plastics for their events and stuff, and also in their personal lives. We've done a few things like plastic challenges and a number of cleanups and things like that. But most of my work that I'm doing is around awareness and education. I did about 30 presentations at different clubs last year through the End Plastic Soup initiative. So it's so great to hear from all of you and all the great work that you're doing. And it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Natalia. You there? You want to say hello? Natalia is a return person. She's been here 2 or 3 times. Maybe she'll come back in a minute. Well, I'll get started with what I have as a loose agenda. There's some things to talk about. First of all, there were people on here last time. What I hope to do is, I promised to do, was a WhatsApp group with just plastics. And so that's an easier way for people to communicate things that they find in articles. I just haven't had the bandwidth to do that. And so I will continue to work on that. Also, I attended last month, well, a whole lot of seminars, and I just thought I would hit some highlights with you, and might spark some conversation. And the first one was Beyond Plastics. And if you aren't aware of Beyond Plastics on the East Coast, they are run out of Bennington College, and they have been quoted in many news articles for their research that they've done on plastics. And they hold a monthly seminar I highly recommend. For example, the one this month is going to be on 3M's decades-long attempt to cover up forever chemicals. And this kind of exposure and the medical issues that continue to roll out, I think these are conversations that are going to continue to get in the news, and that's what we need, because the environment helps people feel sad about the little animals, but when people don't care that much, what might move their needle is to know how much this affects human health. And so I think we really need to push the health issues of plastics. So that should prove to be a great conversation. So I highly recommend that. They also, for anyone who's new to plastics, they have a course actually out of Bennington College, which many people take to be able to get up to speed on the whole breadth of plastic. So that's coming up in the fall. So I wanted to mention that. Barb and I were talking yesterday with her sister. We have a political landscape right now that I'm not going to dive into in the least, but I just want to say that it's really important to people to get young people out and vote their values. At least all the research that I show from 18 to 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds around the world is that the top 2 items that they are interested in is clean water and clean air. And so we need to get them out and get them voting. So I'm just going to throwing out my 2 cents there. And Barb and her sister have a long list of things that if anyone would like to help in that effort, contact Barb and they can get that to you, because right after our call, her sister Frances sent me a long list of links to help getting involved. So I'm going to skip down here. Yes, my my goal is that somehow we can get Rotary International at the highest levels to put more weight behind plastics. And wouldn't it be nice if Rotary International came out with a edict that all of our clubs had to go single-use plastic free? And I'm not sure how to move that needle, except that I'm going to be writing some articles. And I think if you ever see an article, please comment to that, because it shows them that more people are interested. And I was actually thinking of maybe writing an article and get people from different clubs to sign on as supporting that article, to let them know how important that is to us as an issue. Because that's going at the snail's pace. I mean, Barb did 30 presentations. I've done a few because I just didn't have enough time to do. I love to do presentations, and I know somebody in the East Coast is, but we've got 44,000 chapters around the world, and we're not going to hit them all unless we, do bulk district ones, do them at the big conferences. But Rotary International, they need to come out with a statement that, hey, clubs, let's do this. I don't know. Any comments on that?
I think it's a great idea. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a way to do it just by each of us touching base with our district manager and his regional manager and trying to, we got to do good. Yeah.
And also at Pets, I went to Pets. I'm the president for our club this year. And I went to Pets, and they go up on the stage and they talk about, they talk about the environment and blah, blah, blah. And then they're giving out plastic water bottles. And
Yeah.
it was so frustrating. I wrote a big letter when I got back from Pets, and I, offered to help them figure out a different plan for next year. And, people commend you and for all your work. And then, I see on Facebook people doing their events, and there's piles of plastic cups, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah. Our clubs start using paper. I have a question. I can't get the chat to work. I can only go to everyone, or I can go to Tammy and to Alderico, but no one else.
Or just do it to everyone.
Okay.
If
Okay.
it says everyone, just post it there with everyone.
Okay.
It'll go out, it'll show to everyone in the chat. Yeah, well, I'm gonna write a letter. I think the more presidents, I'll write it from Plastic Solutions. We can write it, Barb, from EPS. We can write it from district people. The more we have weight to go behind it, they'll listen. And the other thing is there's a big push in Rotary International to get younger members. And the response to that is you're not going to get younger members until you speak to them about the issues that are important to them. And the environment is a big issue. So that's another way to come at it. Okay, so then yeah, and the other thing to come at it as is the issue. There's most of everybody here in this call. Sometimes we have a lot of people on the calls and they're not from Rotary, so I try to talk in more general terms. But the Rotary has the 4-way test, and there is nothing about plastics that meet the 4-way test. And I think that's the statement that needs to come through as well. It's a moral imperative that we correct our habits here. In terms of plastic. So let me move on here. And I just wanted to run through a lot of this stuff so we all are on the same page. I don't know if this was new information to anyone, but we had a Stanford physician come and do a talk about plastic. And one of the things that they mentioned was not something that I have ever thought of before. And that is the huge increase in diseases from all the plastic bottles piling up around the world. That all those little plastic water bottles with residual little bit of water in them are just breeding grounds for mosquitoes and things like malaria and dengue fever and yellow fever, a whole bunch of things. And that is another reason why we have to try to get these plastic bottles to go down. And I'm making a very clear distinction there. I want to eliminate the word water. We always talk about the plastic water bottles, but all over the world, there are Sprite bottles and every kind of bottle you can come up with, and they're all made by Coke for the most part. Coke has like 30 different brands. They've got healthy water, sport water, they've got electrolyte water, water from the spring, water from that spring. I mean, it's nuts, but they're all plastic bottles. And I think that's the lingo we need to get away from, is calling them the problem of plastic water bottles. It's a problem of plastic bottles. The microplastics are going to be the same. Everything's going to be the same about them. And I think we need to expand that way of thinking. But it was an interesting thing to hear her talk about the proliferation and the growth of these breeding grounds for disease. What else? Okay, so now I wanted to have a general discussion and see if you all can help in this issue. I wanted to talk for a minute about river cleanups. And Carl Nettleton, who here has just joined our group. Carl is from Open Oceans Global. It's a nonprofit in San Diego, and I'm working with him on a project to map the world's pollution. And so in mapping it, well, Carl, if you're on, do you want to come on and say what you're talking about?
Hang on, I'll pull my screen on just for a second here. Hang on.
Welcome, Michelle. Michelle's brand new to Rotary, SRAG, and now to us. So while Carla is getting on, I'll now, Michelle, why don't you introduce yourself?
We're growing.
We're growing.
Hi, everyone. Michelle McDonald. I am in the US, located about an hour and a half outside of DC, just in West Virginia. As Tammy said, new to Rotary and SRAG. My background is in finance and grant writing, but working on kind of moving more in the nonprofit space, specifically climate sustainability, waste reduction. So happy to kind of learn more and start to get involved in this group. So it's great to meet everyone.
I just want to say that Michelle comes from, what do I want to say, from a new perspective. We all have been doing this for a while, but when we talked yesterday, she's in an area where, you know, she brings a water bottle and she's one of maybe 3 people at her Rotary meeting. And so she's new and trying to feel out how to infiltrate environmental mentality into her group. And so we were just talking about how Rotary International, Michelle, how we need to get them to just step and just sort of help push that whole cultural change. So welcome, thank you. So we were just talking about you know, the increase of general diseases like dengue fever and yellow fever and malaria due to the pileup of these plastic water bottles in places around the world, because those little bit of waters that it holds in there, that they hold inside, are breeding grounds for disease. And what we'd like to do, or what I'd like to see people do, is eliminate the word water, because we really are addressing all plastic bottles, whether they're Sprite bottles or whatever. So there's just some some magical changes that I think make a big difference. But now let's move on to Carl, because Carl and I've been coordinating. I hope, Carl, that I'll be churning out more information for you soon. I've been slow to get it to you, but tell them what you're doing and tell them what you want what you hope to achieve.
Sure. Our sense is that while we would all like to have plastic production reduced dramatically, and the attack is on the oil companies and the plastic product producers, including plastic bottles. The reality is that there are huge obstacles for that happening quickly. And we think in the interim, if we've got 11 million metric tons of plastic reaching the ocean every year, and if and we know that plastic production, plastic waste, and plastic leakage in the ocean is due to double or triple in coming decades. We also know that the International Plastic Treaty process is likely not going to have plastic production even on the table. That we need to do something more immediate to try to see if we can stop it. And so our sense is that many people around the world, particularly people in positions to make change, aren't aware that there are beaches all over the world with ankle-deep plastic, and that are causing what Tammy's talking about, causing disease and causing all the problems to the environment that we know about. So our approach is to say, let's find those beaches, let's find them and make that a metric of how we can make change. We think we need to know globally where the beaches are in the world that are persistently fouled by regular amounts of plastic. And I could show you images all day long of those beaches, but they aren't in context as to location. And so we're trying to map all those beaches. We're just in meetings this week with folks with artificial intelligence and satellite companies that can potentially find those from space. In the interim, we've been working on citizen science. We're excited to be able to work with Tammy and her good work that she's doing with SRAG to see if Rotary can help us find those beaches and get them on our global map. People really need to see how bad it is, what it looks like, and to gain an understanding of what can be done to stop it at the low end of the supply chain. I mean, there are a lot of misinformation out there. One of which is that plastic isn't a big island in the middle of the ocean. You have already talked about that, Tammy. It's 75% of it's on a beach somewhere, and if we can find it on a beach, we have a better chance of finding the pathways by which it reached there and seeing what we can do to stop it. And rivers are a primary source of that. There are technologies that can capture the waste in the rivers, but the first step is identifying the very end of the supply chain, which is plastic on a beach, and figuring out how to, at a local level, not international resources, but I think it's going to have to happen by an effort locally all over the world where these beaches are, to people to figure out how to stop where it came from and how to stop it from getting there. We're doing a pilot here in San Diego, which does not have a significant plastic problem on its beaches, but we're mapping all of the beaches, the watersheds, the storm drains, the rivers, and all of that, so that anybody on any beach will be able to go take a look at their beach, and then when they're done cleaning the beach, look up and say, hey, how did it get here? And look at the potential pathways by which it reached there, and to try to implement change to keep it from happening.
So Carl,
Connie,
can I
go
mention
ahead.
something? We were in Croatia, and I don't know why, but the beaches of Croatia are covered with plastic. Almost all the islands off of Croatia are covered. And I don't know if it's the way the ocean goes. I don't think Croatians are the ones that are doing the plastic, but we spent many hours picking up plastic off the beaches there. So the beaches of Croatia are one you should put high on your list.
Yeah, we have a tool on our website that allows people to put a photo and to actually
Will you
put it out
post
on
your
the map and see
website?
where it is. Yes.
Can you
and-
post your website, please? Thank you.
Sure, I'll be happy to do that. And
So I wanna-
to simplify it, one last
Just-
thing to simplify it, there's only 3 ways that plastic can get on a beach. It sounds very complicated, but most of it comes from rivers. Some of it comes from local litter, the Croatians themselves using the beach or something close to the beach, or fishing gear or some other offshore operation. Those are the 3, if you will, more local ways to figure it out. And the 4th way is the one you mentioned, Connie. It comes coming
currents.
from offshore. Now we've got
Right.
we
I
have
think
a
this is a
plastic
current
tracing
issue.
tool, a prototype that we uses ocean currents, to where you can put a dot on your map off your beach and it'll follow the currents back. It works quite well, but it needs to have wave energy and wind energy put into the algorithm to be more accurate. So we're working on that as well as a tool that hopefully when it's finally finished and refined, it'll be one of the tools that we'll be able to provide to folks to figure out where did that waste come from on the Croatian beaches.
So Carl, I have one question.
Yes,
So the project is about 2 things, right? One thing is mapping the beaches which have plastic, and second thing is figuring out how the plastic reached those beaches. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
For the first part, how can we help you? I mean, I want to reach out to all the clubs in India which are located in the cities which are kind of on the coastal regions. And I know many beaches in India are polluted. How can we help you to map those dirty beaches? What kind of data do you need?
I mean, I could share my screen right now and show you what we have. Would that be helpful? Is that, Tammy? I don't want to interrupt your flow of the cafe, but
Sure, let's take a few minutes to do that. While you do that, I wanted to say that
But
to
post the
me-
website, please.
yep, I'm trying to multitask.
To me, the power of the images of a map, so people don't have a sense of the gravity of the trash. And they think, oh, it's just here and it's just there. And when you look at AI, which they have AI mapped global maps where you see the hotspots, Indonesia, for example, you'll see yellow all around the hotspots, but it doesn't bring it to life for people. And I think, for example, like Barb and I are both doing presentations, how powerful would it be to pull up a global map and say all of these red dots represent a beach? You want to see what they look like? Boom, here's Kuta Beach in Bali. Boom, here's this beach in India. Boom, all of these red dots look like this. It's a problem we don't see to the gravity that it truly is in the world. We don't see that in the United States. People need to see it because we're the top producers. They need to understand that problem. And so that's why I like this. And it's citizens just going out there, taking a picture with their latitude and the longitude on their phone. It'll be in the metadata. And then you upload it to the Open Oceans website, and they will put it on the map with the picture.
I've just put those links in. I am putting the map on the page. If I could share, I'll see if I can share screen 2.
And then as Carl is sharing, one of the issues is dealing with watersheds and always teaching people that cleanups are great, but they have to finish the cleanup by looking upstream. There's no, you're going to be cleaning up endlessly, rinse, repeat regularly if you don't look upstream to the cause of the problem.
So can you see the screen right now?
Yeah, it's small, but yeah.
Okay, I can make it bigger.
We can actually make it bigger ourselves on our screen, on our own computer.
Okay, it's usually okay, but we'll see. So these are beaches that we have mapped that are illustrative of the problem. So we'll zoom into a couple here, and you know, Indonesia. Tammy brought up Indonesia. Indonesia is a challenging place. So when you click on our map, you come up and you get a picture. Here's this is in Lombok, Indonesia, where they've just finished doing a cleanup. Not probably the most this is one that's just amazing. This is Kadangganan Beach, also in Indonesia, and you can see you know, trash and litter, and this woman is walking through it. Let's see what we have up here. This is Semporna, Malaysia. You know, and you can click on the picture and it'll make it bigger. And every map, every picture has whatever kind of story, you know, a link to another to more information about it, where the picture came from, to whoever provided it, whatever information they can provide us to tell us about it. You know, Mumbai in India, also another place where you know, you can see this kind of scene is all over the world. I don't know what it looks like in Croatia, Connie, but we know these places are all over the world, and if we can put them in the context of time and place, then we can certainly gain some ground on that, and people start to understand what it'll look like. We also think that patterns are going to emerge, and those patterns will show us. That's the one I just pulled up. Sorry. I'm not as wide awake as I'd normally be. I've been in a conference all week, and I got to go back shortly to it. But you know, there's just incredible amount of trash in so many places around the world. the idea is, I think a couple of things are going to come out of this. One is patterns are going to come out. For instance, on the Hawaiian Islands, we know on the Hawaiian Islands that it's on the southeast shore of the islands because it's on the edge of the major gyre that's in the North Pacific, and so it piles up there. The other side of the island is clean or relatively clean. So I think there's going to be patterns that are going to emerge. There'll be commonality between folks that are that have the same problem and are identifying solutions, perhaps independently, and that can share those solutions. You know, we go to this Hawaiian Islands right here. This is Kamilo Beach, is one of the most known islands for places for plastic trash. We just helped a group in the Henderson Island which is 2,500 miles from anywhere, right here in the middle of the Pacific. There's probably not a more remote place on Earth, yet Henderson Island in 2015 was identified as one of the worst places in the world for plastic. The group I know that went in 2019, they went and cleaned it up, but the surf was so rough they couldn't get the trash in the dinghies out over the reef to get to the ship, so they had to store it in the cave. And they just went back a couple months ago and cleaned it again, got the stuff that they'd stored in the cave and brought it back over the reef. You know, there's efforts like this going on all over the world. And our favorite story is in Bali. There were 3 teenagers that were surfing in Bali, and they loved the surf and hated that there was always trash and plastic in the surf. So they started organizing beach cleanups. And then they realized that a lot of that plastic was coming from the rivers. So now they've got a group called Sungai Watch, which means River Watch. And they're cleaning 100 rivers. They have 100 Sungai warriors that are being paid to clean the rivers. Then they asked how to get into the rivers, and they realized it was the villages. There's a lot of water in Indonesia, and the canals and streams run by almost everybody's house in some way or another, and they throw it out the window. Or they take it if they don't have a canal or stream by their house, they take it to the bridge and throw it in the river. So now they're training villagers that they can swim in the rivers, fish in the rivers again, if they have a way to take care of their trash and not throw it into the river or into the canals. So that's the kind of thinking locally that I think can expand around the world. How did it get there? What's the first step upstream or up current we can take to do it and to fix it and get to work on it? Because I have little faith that the international the international community is going to be able to effectively do anything that's going to stop these flows of plastic in any time in the near future. And even though they're going to do the best they can, and they'll be able to bring resources that will help people like the Sungai Watch and other folks in local areas, I don't think they're going to be able to implement regulations that are enforceable around the world that will change things.
Luigi, you have a question.
Yes, thank you, Tammy. I have a question for Carl. In some trips some years ago, I remember that I have seen not beaches, but fields, plenty of hundreds of thousands of plastic bags. Okay. I don't remember in which countries, maybe in Africa or in Asia. I don't remember exactly. The question is, currently, most of the problem come from the beaches, or also from internal areas, or like fields, mountains, and other sites.
Most of it is land-based, and so the beaches aren't the problem. The beaches are where it ends up. The beaches are the end of the chain where most of the plastic that gets into the ocean ends up. But it gets there from land-based sources one way or the other. There is plastic waste from from fishing and other offshore operations, but most of it is land-based, not from the ocean. That the beaches aren't the problem. The beaches are the illness, where it ends up.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, my question remains, so how do we report the dirty beaches? I mean, how do you map? It's like a, I mean, some verbal written thing that we report, okay, this beach is dirty, or there's a way to log in?
I'll
Or,
show you right now. If you're, this is where you go on the map. You click on that little beach, click here to add your beach to the map. And a little survey form pops up. You can put the name of the beach. You can put, you know, Mission Beach. I can't type very well this morning. And then you can search for Mission Beach. And see, it took, this is Mission Beach in Australia, which isn't the one I was thinking about, but there is a Mission Beach in Australia. So it'll go to the map. If you can move it around, you can move it around the map so that it, you know, maybe it was supposed to be here. Here you just click on the place on the map where you want it to go. And then you move it on down, and you can add an image or upload it from your camera, from your phone. You have a couple of questions to ask. Where do you think it came from? They're just check boxes. So that's how you can report it. That automatically goes on the map. And when it goes on the map, you see this red dot here is one that we haven't verified. The targets are ones that we verified. So when you hit submit, it automatically populates that map. And then we go and take a look and say, hey, is this a legitimate, you know, entry, or was somebody playing around? And, you know, we had somebody the other day put one on, and they just said, I think chicken fried to every question. So they were messing around. So obviously we got rid of that one.
So Carl, I have to say one thing. I commend California, because we have been on all those beaches. We drove down 1A, and California's beaches are so clean for the most part.
They are relatively clean, and the U, thank you for that. You know, there's a perception that the United States is putting all the plastic into the ocean, and we are in a way, but less than 1% of ocean plastic comes from our shores. Now that's still a lot. If 11 million metric tons is going in every year, which Pew, you know, the Pew Charitable Trust estimates is the right amount, the correct number. That still means 110,000 metric tons are going to the ocean. That's not a little amount, but compared to the rest of the world, it's not anywhere near as much. And you know, but even in California, which is a leader, you know, we're not a leader in recycling, for instance. And the United States is really recycling is not the ultimate answer, but it's a part of it. And, you know, in Norway and India have both achieved 90% plus recycling rates of their plastic bottles for, you know, water bottles and soda bottles. And, you know, the best we can do in California is 57%. So there's a lot of work that can be done here too.
Well, Carl, thank you. I know you've got to go to your meeting, and I so appreciate that you were able to pop in this morning at last minute. But look at those videos or those posts that I sent you, and that's sort of the direction I'm going. And then we'll try to come up with some other ways we can help spread the word a little bit more. I just think it would be a powerful tool to have a map where people could actually see what's going on in the world, as opposed to just constantly getting a barrage from all different directions, and seeing it is not the same as putting it in one space and seeing the gravity of it. So thank you, and we'll get going on this project.
Thank you, Tammy. Rotary could play such a huge role in this, you know, from the, you know, the eyes on the beach, if you will, to really help report this to the, you know, Rotary and its prominence in communities all over the world could really help make a change. So we're delighted to keep working with you.
Thank you. All right.
I will
All right,
unshare.
take care. We can stop screen share. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
I'm getting there. I got 3 screens open right now and sleepy eyes. So I'll get rid of it momentarily. There it is.
Thank
Got
you,
it.
Carl, for that information. That was fantastic.
You're
That was
welcome.
great.
We have
Thanks
an
for
overall
coming.
presentation that's more cohesive than what I just did now that I give periodically, so, or whenever when asked. So we can do it on Zoom quite easily.
Cool. Thank you, Carl. I'll be touching base.
Thank
So
you. I'm going to
can we
jump
get the
off if you
presentation
don't
from the
mind.
card?
What's that?
Is it possible to get the presentation that Carl is talking about?
The petition? The
Pres-
form, you mean?
Presentation.
Oh,
Presentation, oh,
Okay,
yeah, I
I
can
like-
give
yeah,
up to
okay.
whenever any of you want to, if you want me to give it to any of your organizations, I can do that. So be happy to do it. I'm giving it today to 11 people from 9 organizations in the Indo-Pacific. So yeah, so anyway,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you,
thanks so
Carl.
much.
That was great. Great to have that. Well, we've got like 6 more minutes. I want to try to keep, like that last time we went to an hour and a half and I had to cut it off, but I thought I really wanted to touch base on another couple concepts and things that have come up. And there's a lot of talk about river cleanups. And of course, Carl was talking about that and part of what he wants to do and the theme for that mapping issue, but in general is going to be looking upstream to teaching people about watershed pollution and how it starts inland and the plastic and the waste gets pushed down further down the stream. And there's a lot of river cleanups going up. And then I'm going to tie this into, I don't know why my thing won't shut up here. River cleanups with Isaac, who's now on the call. We're looking at doing a talk in Uganda and, you know, a cleanup in Uganda. And because they have so much plastic there. And the thing is that a lot of people are cleaning up rivers, and the question remains, what happens to the material that gets cleaned out? And no one can answer that question for me. All I read is, well, we try to recycle it. Well, we all know how well recycling works. Are you picking it up and moving it inland and burying it somewhere? Are you burning it somewhere? Because many of these river cleanups are in areas that don't have the waste management facilities that are going to do proper incineration. So I can't wrap my head around that. But one thing I want to leave you with that thought. And that is, I attended the Geneva Environment Network, hosted some seminars on the plastic waste trade. And I just wanted to hit on that, and I'm going to tie back to the river cleanup here in just a minute. If you don't know what the Basel Convention is, that was trying to bring the world together to eliminate plastic waste trade. And it was signed by 53 countries, including the European Economic Community and the United States and Canada. The problem is the United States never ratified it. So the United States is left to do pretty much a little bit of what they please. And it's a very, very dark, dark, dark world, plastic waste trade. It's a very scary issue. And if you were on the call with Nina Van Tulen the last time when she did the Indonesia Waste Platform, they are just basically coming in with this waste on these big tankers. They're covering up the plastic with cardboard, so it looks like plastic. It's not plastic waste. And then they are taking out, if they can't sell it or find somebody who will take it, they are taking it out into the villages, dumping them on people's farmers' lands and burning it. And they're burning it in the middle of the night, so it's making their land toxic. It's very, I couldn't sleep that night, let's put it that way. So in cleaning up, when talking about where this river stuff goes to, I posed a question to the man who was on the panel. When you do these cleanups, where does that stuff go? Because a lot of people are taking this plastic, melting it down and turning it into product. And nobody can tell us what is the off-gassing from these plastic sheets or materials that are now going to be going on into people's homes. Nobody can answer that. And he was beyond himself livid. He said, that is a horrible idea. That is something that NGOs have brought up and propagated around the world. It's a horrible idea. And that left me with, what are we supposed to do when we clean up these rivers? What are we supposed to do with the plastics? So it's kind of like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. We have to do something, and it's not going to be the pure, perfect world. And now people in these communities are seeing this stuff as a commodity, as a way to make a living. So it's just, I wanted to throw this out as a moral conundrum to all of you, because it's something that we will be facing. Isaac and Naki Valley were looking to buy equipment so they can collect their trash and make it into these kinds of materials. But we have to be very careful of how we do it. We can't be putting it in schools. You got to have place for the dirty runoff to go into the ground, but it's toxic material. And, you know, from the treaty, they were saying all this plastic is toxic waste, and it should be labeled and handled as toxic waste. Niru, you have a question?
Yes, Tammy, I have just put a comment in the chat, but to your question, what happens to all the ocean plastic? So one answer, one solution is being done by Siskowit Ocean Foundation. It is based out of Washington near Redmond. My colleague from MIT Sustainability course is running this organization. And what they do is basically turn the plastic into energy, waste to energy solutions. So, I mean, that is one solution. I mean, it's not the perfect solution because converting waste into energy also cost energy, but still, so we can always ask him to give a presentation on what are the other ideas he have and how successful this conversion of waste to energy is turning out to be.
You know, I would love to have that presentation, because I remember you mentioned that in our original talk, because again, River Recycle, which is doing a lot of this stuff and is aligned, I know there's some Rotary groups working with them, but they couldn't answer the question about the toxicity or off-gassing of these repurposed plastics. And they were talking about this returning to fuel kind of thing, but it was a dirty fuel. And so that wasn't a very positive answer either. So maybe what these folks are doing is developing something that's the next level, and we need that next iteration.
Absolutely,
That
absolutely.
would
I
be
mean, this
great.
guy Raymond,
I'd love to do that.
this
Maybe they
Raymond
could
guy is
come
very,
to,
very
like,
passionate about ocean cleanups, and he's a PhD in chemical engineering, and his whole team is made up of PhDs. So maybe he can answer your questions, and you know, so if the group is interested, I can contact with him and see if he can make a presentation in future sometime.
I would love that. And maybe he could
Okay.
even come and we could use the Plastic Cafe time to do that. This is a
Absolutely.
critical component. Every time I turn around, there's something on LinkedIn, be it in Indonesia, well, Taka Plastics in Uganda, all these different things. They look at plastics as a commodity. I wanted to finish, but just reading you, I wrote it here. Sorry, give me 1 second, because I thought it was such a powerful statement. Oh, yes. One of the girls from Indonesia who was on the panel said this at the very end. She said, "We need to talk restoration. We have wiped out our natural resources, and now we monetize waste for the poor to make a living from plastic waste." It's a pretty sad statement. So they've ruined their fields. Yeah, it's so horrible. It's such a dark trade. All right, it's top of the hour. How, you know, is this a good format, a good time for people? I welcome any input on, I'd like to see this one from Nero. That'd be great. Nero, go ahead.
Yeah, same thing. So right now I'm in Madison Central Time, but usually I'm in Seattle. It's 6 a.m. for me, 7 a.m. for me. Is it possible to just move by 1 hour? Because at 7 a.m. it's peak time for me to send off my husband and kids to school and everything. So, I mean, right now I'm able to join, but once I move back to Seattle in a week, 7
Okay,
a.m.
let
is
me
little
look at
tricky for
that.
me. Yeah.
I try to do it so we can, the 7 o'clock was chosen so we can get people like Isaac, who's down here at the bottom. I don't know, he's at the bottom of my page. Isaac is in Uganda. And so try to span the the width of the world.
I understand.
Yeah, so let me look at the Time Buddy thing and see if we can stretch things either way. We're never gonna get Australia. There's a lovely woman, just like a lot of the people on this call who want to contribute and do things. She is a pharmacist and she is in Australia. She can't make these meetings, but she's looking into how they can change things within the pharmacies to make them more plastic free. So, okay then. Oh, Barb?
Can oh boy, the sun just came through that window really bright. Have you heard of an organization called Pillumina? Pillumina?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I let her know that. It's so interesting just the cultural changes. So she said something, well, I'm dealing with these little packet things. I hate these packets that all come in these little plastic things. And I go, wait, I don't see that as a big problem. I used to have, some medicine bottles as a problem. And she said, we don't use those.
Oh, interesting.
She uses predominantly, so if you need, an antibiotic, it's going to come in one of those little pop-out things. It doesn't come in a plastic bottle. But she hates those little pop-out things because they're not recyclable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I have heard of that, and I did tell her about that. But I'll let her come up, and at some point we'll have people come and do little presentations of where they are with each one of our topic matters. I just want to give a notice here to Natalia. She's been quiet. I think she had to put her kids to bed, but Natalia, if you're there, you want to say any last minute, come on in and say hello, or we'll say goodbye. I think there's a song there. You say hello, I say goodbye. Sorry, the musician in me. Okay, oh, there she is. Hello.
Hi there. Yes,
You want to tell
finally
them
my
what
son
you're
is
doing?
asleep. Yeah. Hi. So, before we close, I would like to say, thank you thank you all for being resilient in fighting the plastic pollution. Yeah, I'm trying to do my part as well. Indonesia, where I live, is we're facing a crisis of plastic pollution, and still the production of plastic itself doesn't stop. So of course we need to turn off the tap, and we just do what we can. Thank you.
We'll do our best. Barb?
I was wondering if you know about Nina from Indonesia and a man named Nono.
Nina, yes. The last time with Plastic Cafe, I met through Zoom, but Nono, I'm not sure. No, I think I don't know him.
I was just in Indonesia, and Nono is in Bali, and he's working really, really hard on plastic education and awareness. And he is working with the national parks, and he's created major cleanup work and has a facility, a place to take the cleanup. I don't know what happens to it next, but he created something so that he's an attorney and left his work as an attorney to work on plastic pollution. And then he takes a lot of the plastic waste that he finds, and he and his wife clean it, and they're making shopping bags and briefcases and all kinds of stuff. And I arrived at this beach, and he was standing there, and he had this shirt, just say no to plastic, respect our nature, or something like that. And I just wanted to run up and hug him. And then I found out he was going to be our guide and for the day. And he was just fantastic, but he's doing a tremendous amount of work. So I don't know if it would be worth.
Do you know the name of the organization or the community?
It's near Manjangan Island.
Manjangan Island.
Yeah. Is that far away from you?
Well, quite far. Yeah, that's in between Java and Bali.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's where he is. But he's in
Perhaps
the-
if you get that information, we can, where he's located, you can get that to Natalia. There's, just so you know, Barb, the couple months, was it last month? We had Nina Van Tulen, who started the International Waste Platform, or the Indonesia Waste Platform. And so when you say Nina, Natalia's thinking of Nina, who was on who presented last.
Yeah, Nina's
yeah.
16.
So it's a different Nina.
Yeah, it's a
Nina-
different Nina.
Nina is 16 years old and is doing a tremendous amount of work, and she leads a lot of protests about countries bringing in
Yeah,
plastic.
yeah. Yeah, it's called Ecoton, I think, her organization.
Yeah, she works with the UN, and she's doing a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah, indeed. Yes,
Okay, well, if I
I
get
follow their work as well.
If I get my WhatsApp chat going, I need another couple hours in the day. These are the perfect kind of things that we could share on there, so it's more fluid. But yeah, please take note, Barb, maybe for next time we can have that information or
Okay.
share. Natalia, do you have your information in the chat? So maybe Barb can send it.
Or I can
Sure.
send.
Can I just send my WhatsApp number?
Yeah. Did you give me your WhatsApp number last time?
Not so sure, but last time I think
Okay.
I sent my Instagram account.
Okay. Well, let me save this chat. How do you save the chat?
There's a little thing up at the top. There's those 3 little dots at the very top of the chat.
I don't see them. That's the problem.
Where it'll say Plastic Cafe, July 18th. And then there's 3 little dots and it says save chat. Here, I'll save it.
Oh, there it is. Hold on. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I saved it. Let everyone go on with their day or evening, and yeah, maybe we'll get Carl back, and I'd like to get the Nero's person there to talk about this river cleanup thing. Perplexes me. It's like, yeah, let's go in and clean it up. Yeah, we need to look upstream and find the source. Okay, great, but what do you do with all that stuff in an area that has no waste management? So it's the thing we face in Bangladesh. It's what we face in Uganda. It's just, plastics is a commodity. It's just a cheap, easy material. So why don't we do something good with it? But we don't want to propagate it. But at the same time, we have to do something with it. So we're not going to get rid of it anytime soon.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you all for being here. See you next time.
Thank you, Tammy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Luigi. Have a glass of wine for me.
Okay. White or red? What do you prefer?
If it's Italy, if it's Italian wine, it's going to be red.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.
Natalia, I'm so glad you could come on and talk. That was great.
Okay.
Yes, me too. It took a while to put my son to sleep.
Yeah, well, people have lives. That is a reality. That's why I haven't done the WhatsApp thing, because there's not enough time in the day. So,
Yeah, indeed.
all right. All right,
Okay, bye,
everybody.
Tammy.
I'm
Thank
going to
you.
sign off. Take care. Bye-bye.